Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Claremont X-Men Comic Club. I am Chris Anderson, joined as always with my good friend John Coates. John, how you doing, man?
I am doing super good today, Chris.
Awesome.
Super excited.
Super excited.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about issue 115 of the Uncanny X-Men. Last we met, the X-Men had escaped Magneto's underground molten fortress, only to find themselves in the Savage Land. And as Storm wanders off for a quick little swim, she is met by Sauron. And now we go to issue 115, Enter Sauron.
Oh man, and this is a good one.
It is.
I feel like we say that every week, but every week it's true.
Every week it's true.
Every week it's a good one.
We wouldn't lie to you.
That's right. 100% honesty on the CCXCC.
So this is a burn cover?
Yeah. Amazing burn cover too.
Yeah.
Love the Sauron wings. Just kind of over top of everybody. Oh, so good.
Yeah, showing Wolvie swiping at Colossus there.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why? What is happening?
Oh my god! I guess we better open up and find out. And for those following along, this is November of '78.
Okay,
is when we get this issue. So here we go. The X-Men starring in Visions of Death. Claremont Byrne, Terry Austin back on inks. A new letterer here, Rick Parker.
Oh, yeah.
And Francois Mouly on colors.
Okay, there you go. Now, we were just talking about Francois Mouly because I was just at CXC in Columbus and saw a talk with Jeff Smith moderating with Art Spiegelman and Francois Mouly, who is his wife. And she was talking about the process of doing these color separations and things under Marie Severin's eye. And then, she went on to, kind of spearhead the interesting printing processes that they did with Raw Magazine and things like that. So it was a very interesting talk. Very, very coincidental that all of a sudden, hey, Francois Mouly is doing this. Very cool.
Yeah. And she does a great job in this issue, I will say. So here we go, picking up right where we left off. Sauron holding Storm, and he just sort of vampire drained all her energy. And he says, "As I claimed this she-mutant's life, X-Men, so shall I claim yours. And then Sauron shall rule this savage land."
Yeah, that's an awesome opening splash.
Yeah, great opening splash here.
But
getting you psyched. And then as we remember, this is Banshee down here in his native garb still.
Yeah, it's hard to remember that that's Banshee sometimes when he's dressed in his cave outfit. But bam, look at this. Holy crap. What a spread.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And Wolverine coming right at us. The only place you're going to rule is in hell.
Damn.
Great stuff. Oh, yeah, that Sauron design, so cool.
Yeah.
Cyclops, of course, is just trying to tell him don't do it, Wolverine, because he knows stuff that Wolverine doesn't know, and we're gonna find out what. But yeah, what do you think of that? As a splash.
That is just great. The flow of that whole thing is amazing. And Sauron is just, he's just a pterodactyl with a man's body, but he's got all these in the face and stuff. It's just such a great chance to push the push the folds and the weird grotesqueness, and he just looks like he's fun to draw, you know?
Yeah. And this spread here, man, this might be the least amount of like dialogue ever on like a Chris Claremont, like 2 pages.
Yeah, I think that might be right.
You know, that just hit me. It's like we're not getting descriptions of anything else, like the atmosphere or what's going on in Sauron's mind or anything.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's just letting Wolverine speak, and that's it.
Yeah.
So here we go, and right from there, we are right into the action. Some cool stuff here. I like Wolverine saying, this bargain basement Rodan just chopped an X-Man, and Wolverine's going to make him pay. I like that he calls him Rodan.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that. Rodan, of course, of Godzilla fame, the pterodactyl. So, you know, you're getting some cross IP talk, like when they called someone Chewbacca a few issues back.
Mm-hmm.
Could never do that today. I mean, I guess they could call him Chewbacca because Marvel or Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars, but
right. Yeah, you probably, if you'd use Rodan, you'd have to spell it with like 2 D's or something, you know, so like a knockoff.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's Cyclops worried about? Well, right here we go. Wolverine gets hit with these hypnosis eyes of Sauron's. And we get this great little middle panel here with it's like the eyes syncing up to his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And just like that, now he like spins Wolverine around and says, "See who truly is the enemy here." And we get these great 2 panels showing like our other X-Men all of a sudden turning into demons in Wolverine's eyes. And what do you think of these demonic forms down here?
Yeah, they're so cool. I love how it mirrors the panel above it, and you get this one on the left that has this like, you know, one glowing eye, like, you know, to represent Cyclops, and then you've got, you know, Nightcrawler is already kind of demonic, so it's just hidden back there with some flames and some big eyes. And then Banshee is, you know, even though like I believe in Irish folklore, Banshee tends to be female, but it is the call of, you know, the death of a family member is when you hear the Banshee scream. So and that's when you know that a member of your family has died. So for it to look like death is very apropos. So that's really cool. And then, yeah, it's fun the way that Byrne and Austin get to kind of stretch out and make some weird, grotesque stuff. I mean, I always love weird, grotesque drawings, and they do it very well.
Yeah, and this Cyclops demon, he almost looks like he's melting.
Like, yeah, it's
melty, cool. Gooey, dead body kind of thing going on.
Yeah, he's like, and his head is like a Cockrum Colossus brain cavity where there is no room for a brain.
Yeah. And we get a little insert here telling us that the sort of the last time we saw Sauron and him using these eye beams was back in X-Men 60-61. Right. And we took a brief look at 61 last time. Yeah,
with Neil Adams on art. Yep.
Go. So now Sauron is basically unleashing Wolverine upon the rest of his teammates here.
Yep.
And he's going to come at him. And so Cyclops knows the only way to stop him is he's just going full blast to try and knock him out.
Zrap.
Yeah. Great little scene there. And Banshee's like, you know, you're crazy for doing that. And Cyclops is like, no, you got to trust me. I know what's going on here. And he tells us that Sauron's hypnotic abilities make Mesmero look like a rank amateur. And we know how Mesmero was able to turn the X-Men into sort of circus freaks a few issues back.
Yeah.
So they're just upping the ante there. This guy's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So Banshee goes airborne. And
which is interesting. I always kind of figured that the flaps on his suit were the thing that made him fly with the sonic, bounce
yeah,
back.
right. But I guess not. Maybe it just helps him control his flight a little better.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a flying squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And Sauron is telling him like that he's weak, basically, and then the Banshee unloads and just blasts Sauron through some trees and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just love when Banshee gets to just unload on people.
Yeah.
And it reminds you like, oh, this guy is tough.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Wolverine's knocked out. Storm's just floating in this pool, and Cyclops is, he's running off to try and help and telling Nightcrawler to stay put.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to look at Wolverine, and Wolverine spins around. Lousy demons, you ain't taking me. And just wow.
Yeah.
Knocks him back because he's still mind controlled. And here now, since Wolverine's back up, what he's seeing in his eyes, he thinks there's a demon trying to attack Jean.
Right.
Which is, well, we'll get to it here. So, and then it's actually just Cyclops fighting Sauron, and it tells us Cyclops pivots just enough that Wolverine doesn't basically kill him.
Right. And Jean's not even there at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
And Wolverine, even while he's fighting Cyclops, he starts to think, nah, something's wrong. I'm talking like Jeannie's alive.
Yeah.
But she ain't.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we remember, the X-Men in the Savage Land think that Jean Grey and the Beast are dead. And Jean Grey and the Beast think that they're all dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool drawing of Wolverine on the top panel there as he's going forward with his face in black. I mean, that just feels like a Wolverine pose,
Yeah. Yeah, Byrne definitely has Wolverine all figured out.
Yep.
At this point.
Yep.
Because if we remember, he looked a little wonky at times in that Iron Fist issue where he was getting his first crack, but now he's really got him down.
Yeah, a few issues in, he's got it.
And so Cyclops gets another good blast in, and it just throws him really far into the jungle. But of course, Sauron is still the main enemy coming down at him, and him and Cyclops and the Banshee do this great high-low maneuver here. So he gets hit from on high by the Banshee's sonic scream, and then Cyclops' Octopredict blast hits him from below.
Yep.
And basically sort of shocks his system so much that it's sort of like draining the energy that Sauron had stolen from Storm.
Right.
And he's sort of an energy vampire. He has to keep sucking people dry to stay at full power here. And so he tells us he's got to get out of here. He's losing that energy, and he's starting to change back to his human form, Karl Lycos.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. And of course, this panel is great down here in the bottom corner where the face, like it's starting to get a little human-like there's hair on the head or something.
Yeah,
right
yeah, yeah.
It's like the beak is starting to shrivel up.
Yeah, he looks like a Skeksis from Dark Crystal there a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And those guys are terrifying.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah, and we get a little bit of sort of like Mr. Hyde kind of thing here where he's thinking that Lycos, his human form, is a sniveling weakling, and he doesn't want to change into him. So, but he senses that Colossus here has power just as great as Storm's, and so he grabs Colossus to suck him dry. In this really, really kind of terrifying. I like the coloring down here.
Yeah.
The yellow and just like
the uplighting on the face is pretty great. Yeah.
Great. The way the sequencing here in these pages, like this action, Like, I think it flows really nice.
It does flow very well.
Yeah, and to be drawing like Sauron that many times, with his big wings, it's got kind of awkward.
Yep.
But it all looks good.
Yeah, he worked it all out.
Mm-hmm. And this is great here. So Cyclops is arriving just in time, and he basically yells at Colossus to change into his armored form. And while he's getting sucked dry, he changes, and it creates this energy feedback that just like knocks Sauron back.
Yeah, I love that shot of him with the almost like crackle in him.
Yeah, the red and the Kirby crackle explosion.
Yeah, I'd love to see what that looks like just as in the inked form, because there's no holding line around it. So,
oh yeah, great reaction from Sauron in that panel too.
Yeah, yeah,
the open beak there and everything. Mm-hmm. And now that Sauron is knocked for a loop, Wolverine is finally coming to, and he's like back to normal. And he's saying, someone's been playing pinball with my head.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Yeah.
And look at this weird version of him changing back.
Yeah. Crazy looking.
So weird. I love it.
Yeah. As he's just sort of shriveling back from pterodactyl to man form.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And just in time for Wolverine to grab him. And he's like, any last request? Because he's going to just take him out.
Oh, yeah.
But, here we get a little swerve. You can't take him out because here comes Ka-Zar, Lord of the Savage Land, telling the X-Men to leave him alone.
Yeah, that's a pretty great panel, too.
Yeah. Great panel. I like the little, like, sort of 2/3 page kind of splash there. Ka-Zar looking all badass here. And Cyclops comes running in. It's me, it's Cyclops. And he's like, I remember you, X-Man. And he throws at us that, him and Lycos, a.k.a. Sauron, are looking for the X-Men because they want their help.
Yep.
And it's like, wait a minute. Why do they need our help? But he was just attacking us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great little sort of mid-issue swerve they throw to us here. That was a lot of ads. And so now our story basically jumps back to sort of the village where Ka-Zar is staying with the X-Men, and they're all kind of recovered. We see Storm is conscious now and with it, and they're hanging out around a fire. And now we're going to get some backstory and find out what's going on and what kind of help the X-Men are needed for.
Right.
And it kind of flashes back. So here's Lycos, and he's basically recapping for us issue 61 of X-Men, which we kind of looked at the end of the Neil Adams issue, and like where he falls off the cliff and you think he's basically dead. Yeah,
so you can see Jean in her Marvel girl, right? Is it they called her? Outfit, and you got Beast in his human form and Iceman there.
Yeah, sort of the original 5. But here we go. Lycos didn't die, and he just sort of found his way into the Savage Land and sort of made peace with his sort of, he calls it a madness.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of cursed to change into this dinosaur man. And he says that to get energy to survive, he would just take it from the lesser animals around me. So I guess like mice and possums or whatever he's catching.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But a few weeks ago, he comes across this weird procession going on through the Savage Land with these like garbed people in this crazy looking mountain cave they're going into. And this introduces us here to Zaladane. Here, the anointed princess, she says, of Garok.
They come up with these names.
Yeah. And so
she's got this like Kirby-esque design to her hair and everything, you know? You see the back of her head there?
Yeah. And here's this Garok statue inside here. So it's like this weird ancient rock god that these people in the Savage Land are sort of worshiping.
Right.
But what they have here, it's also kind of dark because they've got this guy that they've kidnapped who is like on this slab here.
Yeah.
Kirk Marston. And so she makes this weird flaming goop and like puts it on his chest. And then he begins to glow and he basically sort of disappears or changes or whatever. And he becomes sort of a reborn Garok.
Yeah, he looks really great when he gets reborn.
Yeah.
The problem I was having reading this issue was that, like, between this guy on the slab and, you know, the Sauron, you know, character and Banshee in his loincloth, they kind of all look the same. They've all got the same haircut, you know. One's got stubble, one's blonde, but, you know, like sometimes you forget to add things or the color separation isn't right. So I was like, starting to get confused. Like, wait a minute, is this him? Is this the Sauron character? Like,
yeah. And it's like, he's right here. And it's like, wait a minute, it kind of looks like
all got
him.
this like late 70s long haircut.
Yeah, you kind of want this Marston guy to have like a mustache or
something.
Give him a scar. I don't know. Do something.
Yeah, or change his physique. You know, don't make him the same jawline or something. But you know,
yeah. But luckily for all us readers, he's gone, and we get the Petrified Man instead. So
yeah,
now
he looks really great, especially that one where he's looking at his hands there.
Yeah. And it's like his skull is like extra big and it's got that weird hair.
Yeah.
Down the back. Yeah. And here we go. Zaladane. I, Zaladane, your priestess, summoned you from the Shadow Kingdom. Death and worse now stalk the Savage Land. Your people cry out for you. So they've sort of resurrected him thinking that he's going to help them and help the Savage Land.
Yeah.
And now we're going to look at, so here Zaladane goes out with our Petrified Man, and they're kind of looking at this weird alien sort of castle and stuff, an alien landscape that's kind of appeared in the Savage Land. And we end up getting at the bottom of the page some notes basically that this is something that's going on in a Ka-Zar's own comic.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ka-Zar 20, where he's like in the midst of like fighting these aliens, the city of Shinars, and he's riding this like awesome flying shark.
Yes. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, I wish they would have kept that in the Savage Land. Like, keep some flying sharks around, you know?
Hell yeah. Awesome. What's up with the planets above the head?
Yeah, like it's like a portal or something to this alien world, and like that alien world is like bleeding into
the
Savage Land or something like that is what's going on here. And the Petrified Man here uses his powers with these light beams out of his eyes and can basically closes down this trans-dimensional portal between the worlds here, and in that way kind of saves the Savage Land from these aliens.
So he's done one good thing.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, so far he doesn't seem to be too bad. And yeah, so I would really like to read this Ka-Zar number 20. I've got a few of the issues because there's a couple where there's some interesting art, but I don't know that I have that issue where he's fighting aliens. But like when the alien portal disappeared, like the shark he was riding disappeared, and Ka-Zar just crashed back to the jungle.
Yeah.
And then they start to figure out what was going on, and he meets up with Lycos, and then from there on, Ka-Zar and some of these other natives have been fighting against Garrock and his people because they're trying to then take over the rest of the Savage Land.
Right.
And they're building a big metropolis in the Central Lake, they tell us. And that's what they want the X-Men to help them sort of take down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a whirlwind here and at this point in this issue where we are getting fed all kinds of information to get us up to speed where the story is at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just downloading it, you know?
Yeah. It's like, oh, how did Sauron survive? Okay. Oh, and now they're this guy, Petrified Man. What's his deal? Aliens. And now here we go. And so they're asking, hey, if the X-Men help, we can win this thing. And Wolverine's like, yeah, fine by me, Blondie. Sounds like my kind of fracas. And our other brawler, the Banshee right here, my sentiments exactly, short stuff. But then we get this little no from off panel.
Yeah, of course, no. The wet blanket over here.
Cold water. Here comes the cold water. Yeah. Boom. Uh-oh. And of course, Wolverine. What do you mean
no?
And Cyclops basically reminds us again that like it'd be great to help, but we've got to assume Magneto survived, and he's going to try and take out the professor. And saving the professor is our first line of duty.
Yeah, they got compounding problems, you know?
Yeah, like all of a sudden, yeah, they got too much to deal with. And like one problem is in Antarctica, the other one is in upstate New York.
They're going to need to have a whole other team soon enough.
Yeah, like what makes Cyclops think they can even get back in time to save the professor? Like he's probably already dead.
Yeah.
You know, they were hanging out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Down here. But, you know, Ka-Zar, he's a good fella. He's like, I understand. It's fine. And, you know, Wolverine's thinking about like, oh, now we're cutting out and running again, and I'm getting sick of it, which is great. And here's sort of our second to last panel on this page. The X-Men are walking off, heading to sort of an underground tunnel that's going to lead them away. But we get this interesting little Colossus saying Das Vidanya Nereal to this woman up here who's waving back and calling him my Peter, I will cherish you always. So remember that panel right there, readers, because we're going to sort of come back to that.
We're going to come back to that a couple times, actually, because we're going to come back to it this episode, but we're also going to come back to it much later.
Yes, sir. Indeed. That's like our B story. It's like,
yeah,
through the recordings. But now all of a sudden we get some weird stuff going on as the X-Men, they're heading to where they're supposed to be able to get out. And we're starting to see cold weather, dead trees, snow, and Nightcrawler starts to have a snowball fight with Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just joking around. Yeah, just like, oh, snow happens all the time. It's no big deal. And Ka-Zar's like, yeah, it doesn't happen here though. And Storm can tell. So she lets us know like, hey, the sun god, the petrified man, has upset the ecological balance of the land. And he's destroying the hothouse effect that keeps the cold away and protects the Savage Land, basically.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
plugging it up.
Yeah. And Ka-Zar says a snowstorm for the Savage Land is death.
Well, I guess they're not going anywhere so fast after all.
Wow. So then next issue, to save the Savage Land.
Damn.
Uh,
Damn.
Great issue. Like all this action right up front. Cool. Dinosaur Man. And then just a great move to put that swerve in the middle where, you know, you're going into this like, oh, it's life or death. Sauron's back. It's going to be the whole issue. And then in the middle, it's like, actually, you got to help him, and he's sorry that he almost killed you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And please forgive him.
Oh, and there is a rock god to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. Let's take a look at the classic X-Men version here real quick. Set this to stage. And here we go. The backup story, First Love. This immediately reminded me of your brother James when he did the title card for the episode, one of the episodes that he guest hosted on. He did something like that over in the corner, that lettering, and immediately made me think of that.
Yeah, it was like Steel Love or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I wonder if he got it from this. But yeah, so this backup, you know, we see this is Colossus in the Savage Land, and you know, it's real hot, and he's like kind of you know, sitting here, he's sketching away, and he's kind of starts hallucinating a little bit here, and he sees these girls that we saw, you know, the girl that he, you know, really liked, who ran away from him, and his sister, hallucinates. But then, you know, he comes back to it, and he just sees these women from the Savage Land kind of waving to him. So he's like, hey, you know, and he's, you know, sensitive boy, drawing, you know, the last time that he saw her, you know, before he had to turn his powers on, and she freaked out and ran away and crushed his soul. And then he hears this scream and runs to see what's happening, and there's this T-Rex that have them kind of cornered. Now, obviously, they know how to handle themselves, but you know, it's a T-Rex. You know, it's the big bad of the Savage Land.
I love the T-Rex drawing in this story.
Yeah.
You know, it's got those great feel of sort of the not quite correct anatomically, like old school, how they were all used to be drawn.
Yeah, and the stop motion stuff from like the you know, 50s.
But it but it looks like really terrifying the way Bolton is laying in like the blacks and stuff.
I also like this E that he's got here, this automatopoeia that it's pretty clear that Bolton wrote it, like put it in, you know, as part of the artwork. So, you know, he is having a problem, like triggering his metal, you know, his mutant powers here. And so he thinks that it's the heat like affecting him. So he just picks up this rock and is able to throw this rock. So, you know, Peter's strong anyway. You know, he doesn't need his mutant powers to be strong, which makes me laugh. Like, what if Peter wasn't like didn't lift? You know, like what if he was a little skinny guy who just turned into metal? Like,
well, that'd be a totally different character. Yeah.
So, you know, he pisses off the thing here, and it nails him, tosses him into the lake. You know, he bloodies himself here. And you know, it's coming after this girl. He grabs this stone axe that he finds, and he's, you know, climbing up to the top. And as he's about to jump on its back, it grabs this girl, you know, just crunches her. And he takes the axe and friggin' takes his eyeball out.
Awesome.
But she's had it, you know, one crunch. and so he's just like whacking this thing.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Ooh.
So he takes it out, and they are so grateful, but they've lost one of their sisters here. And so there's this, funeral for her. All the X-Men come to it. And then later, that at night, as Peter's sort of, getting ready to go to bed, they come in and they say, there's a last ceremony, a memorial that they must perform. We would like to share this special you to share this special time with us. And so they start walking off, and now we've kind of flashed back to this moment a few issues ago where they were leading Peter off, and Logan was sitting here mending his clothes, and was like, no, buddy, you go off. And he knew what was up.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a third wheel all of a sudden. He's like, no, I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah. So they take him to this island, this like sacred island, and they are gonna they're gonna have a threesome with him, and he's such a sweet little boy. He has no clue what's going on, and just as things are about to get going, of course the T-Rex shows back up again. Awesome drawing. Tell Bolton loves old dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And tragedy is about to strike again, but he's able to now, with the heat wave gone, turn into his steel self, and he goes into the jaws of this thing and just lifts and snaps its jaw open like King Kong snaps the T-Rex in the movie from the 30s, and there's a bit of he drops it, he's just like kills it right away. But there's some trauma left over from when that what's her name left Colossus, because it was when he turned into the thing that she immediately got turned off by him.
Right.
But no, not these girls. They think that's pretty hot. And so he turns back. They continue right where they left off.
Yep.
And then the end of this issue, again, we saw them, saying, "Farewell, my Colossus. I will cherish you always." So
yeah, ties right back in.
But we will have a reason to come back to this particular story.
Yeah, and look at that back cover.
Yeah,
drawing there,
so good.
Yeah, I'm a huge Colossus fan, and this is one of my all-time favorite Colossus stories.
Well, it's just so like there's so much innuendo in it, but it's not where comics don't, comics for kids, you don't really take it to this part where someone's gonna have a threesome, it's like
there's no mistaking what's gonna happen.
None.
And then
not ambiguous at all.
Yeah, and then in the midst of all that, you get him fighting a T-Rex a whole bunch, and
awesome.
You get some blood and gore, and yeah.
Look at this cover.
Yeah, really good one. Really good one by Adams here.
This is Adams with Austin again. This is 87.
Yeah, look at Zabu. Looks so cool there. Our saber-toothed cat.
The blue nose. As you know, I'm not a fan of the white outline, but we'll forgive it.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in the vine. Like, you didn't have to do it to the vine, but anyways. And then a cool inside cover, because it's just some dinosaurs sleeping.
Yeah, just an ankylosaur just sleeping.
Yeah.
I love the choice. I love the choice there. The decision to that's what I'm going to draw.
Yeah.
I'm not going to draw X-Men. Yeah.
There are some extra pages in here that Kieran Dwyer did what are the pages?
Chris, can
11.
I ask you, are you a Ka-Zar fan? Have you read much Ka-Zar?
I haven't read much Ka-Zar, no. I mean, I get the gist, so
yeah, I like Ka-Zar.
I'm sure. I mean, you and dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, I'm fond of his like Andy Kubert did a one in it's got to be the late 90s or something like that. Little Ka-Zar series that I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. But here's just the extra pages from the inside, and it's just basically going back and talking about how Jean is dealing with the fact that she has this new power. It's not very interesting.
Is she are they struggling with I forget how it goes. Are they struggling with the thoughts that like the rest of the X-Men are dead, or it's just her dealing with trying to deal with her power?
It's just her dealing with her power, yeah. Yep. So that is it. That is issue 115 of the X-Men.
Yes, of the Uncanny X-Men.
Hey, John. What are you wearing there?
Oh, well, gosh, I'm so glad you noticed. This is my official CCXCC T-shirt.
Check it out.
Ooh, featuring our original new X-Men team.
That looks rad.
Wow, badass, including Thunderbird R.I.P.
Thunderbird R.I.P. Got to get him in there, man. Yeah, you can have yours, your very own one. Just go to the show notes, and you'll be able to customize yours and make it however you want it.
That's right.
At the end of the episode, if all goes as planned, there will be a speed drawing of the thumbnail, and you can always buy the originals on my website. And you stick around for a second, find out where to get John and my awesome books, and follow us on all the things, again, in the show notes. So, John, until next time, when we read issue 116. That's right. Stay X. Later, everybody.
See ya.
Check out DinoBeast.com for all things John Coates like Dino Beast, Ninja 4, M.L.F, Berserker, and more. ChrisAndersonComics.com is where it's at for books like Chaotic Neutral, Spectral, A Showcase of Fear, Lost Angels, and more, plus apparel and original art. Also a link to Patreon where you can read Three-Headed Pigman now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We'll see you next time on the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club.